Yo, what's good? I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the over 16,000 subscribers and everybody who watch, comment, like, dislike, support. I definitely appreciate y'all. Welcome. I'm Marcus, the debt free dad. And over here, we talk finances, attorney reactions. And tonight's reaction is going to be to someone who essentially fumbled their bag. What is fumbling your bag, if you don't know, is hey, when you do something that ultimately messes up your ability to generate an income. And fortunately or unfortunately, hey, sometimes we have bag fumble situations where we may have a lack of judgment, where it may be due to no fault of our own, but we're gonna talk about one today that occurred literally right in DFD's backyard. So we definitely going to dive in and talk about it. As always, I have to give the disclaimer. I am a licensed attorney in several jurisdictions, but none of those jurisdictions amount to me being your counselor of law. So, in short, that means if you're looking for legal advice or you are looking for financial advice, you need to seek a professional in your area, someone who has a fiduciary relationship to look out for your best interest. And if they fail to do so, they could lose their license to trade securities, license to uh, do or provide financial advice, license to practice law. So that's something you definitely need because, hey, don't listen to a talking head on YouTube, even if it's your boy. Hey, 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 what's going on, brother? I hope everything going well with you. Too rich to mister. That's my crypto guy right there. Y'all check out his content if you're interested in crypto. That's how I found him, but definitely a good brother with good content. So make sure to check him out. Okay, now today we are talking about a teacher in the DMV area. Like I said, DFD's backyard. We're gonna watch some video footage, and I'm gonna have to give my take, and I want y'all to chime in the comments. We definitely got to go in because I want to look at all perspectives of this. You gotta understand my perspective before we go into these videos. Okay, we're gonna watch 3 videos, all of Mr. White, who was a teacher in the DMV area and no longer is a teacher. Now, my perspective is y'all gotta understand when you practice law, when you do criminal law, you typically see the worst of the worst. Okay. So I always look at everything. It's probably a jacked up thing to do, but I tend to look at things from a worst case scenario situation because I've seen the worst of the worst. I've represented persons who committed sexual assault, sexual battery. Like I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've had training uh, in looking for physical cues of persons who've been subject to abuse and neglect. Like I mean, I've just had so much training regarding abuse and neglect on the defense side, not necessarily from a prosecution side. So we have to take that into consideration before we look at these videos, so y'all know where I'm coming from. So let's go ahead and cue things up. All right, we're gonna get this first video queued up. Let's do it like this. All right, now this very first video is what started this entire situation. All because this teacher decided to allow his students, middle school students, to take his braids out, and it ultimately led to him getting fired. So we got a couple of videos, and in real talk, I want y'all to take because I'm gonna give y'all my take. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna give y'all my take. Let's go ahead and dive into this very first video.
Let's go ahead and stir the pot a little, shall we? Last Friday, 10 minutes before dismissal time, I decided to live stream my students helping me take my hair out. There was quite the discourse in the chat, which had people saying this was inappropriate and other people saying this was completely fine. There was nothing.
Okay. First problem off the jump. This is just me looking at it from my eyes as a person, a human being, a guy, a father, and an attorney. I feel some type of way about a teacher uh filming or doing live videos with his students' images up there. Just me personally, I from a legal standpoint, it could lead to issues. I think later in the video, this guy said, "Oh, the parents love my TikToks and everything." Me personally, if I was advising the school, I would be like, yo, this is cool. Make your TikToks. Generally, keep the students out of it. I'm not a fan of having paraphernalia with the school's logo and all of those things on it. That's just me. Hey, I'm a risk averse guy because I'm an attorney. That's what my job is to reduce risk. Now, in this very first clip, it's something that we have to pay attention to here. And I don't know if y'all caught it, so I'm gonna give it to y'all and I'm gonna hit play and let this go through. I may pause it occasionally. He started the live and he said during the live, it created quite the conversation in the comments with some people saying this is inappropriate, maybe you shouldn't do this, and other people saying it's cool. Remember that because we're going to have to talk about that a little bit later.
Nothing wrong with what I was doing, and people were just making it weird. So of course I had to bring this issue to the big stage. I would like to represent myself in this case, Your Honor, if I may. Number one, for a little context, I had a hair appointment immediately after school, and I needed my hair taken out beforehand. I would have taken it out the night before, but that Friday we had a camera crew coming in to shoot a promotional video, and I was one of the ones being interviewed. So I had to look presentable, so I didn't take my hair out. I didn't have the time to do it all myself because it would have taken me forever. So naturally I asked about 4 or 5 of my over 100 best friends to assist me in taking my hair out, and they all agreed. Number 2, this was at the end of class. This week we were doing STEM fair presentations. Since it was Friday and all of my students did an excellent job on their STEM fair projects and presentations, I told them if we get one solid presentation in this class, I'll end class a little early and they can have fun and play basketball, darts, or be on their phones or whatever. And during that time, my team would help me take my hair out. A couple of these were students from my class, but others were students from other classes. I wrote all of them a pass at the beginning of the class period, requesting their assistance 10 minutes before dismissal. I told the teachers only send them if all of their work was completed and they had good behavior. They all met the criteria, so 10 minutes before dismissal, they showed up for their job. My next point I'd like to make is if I was a female teacher, those people wouldn't be in the comments saying, oh, this is weird, this is inappropriate.
Okay, let's take a quick pause here, okay? I'm just identifying things that are going to be points for discussion. Kids had, finished up early. Some people were hooping, some people were playing darts. They were all doing stuff that was consistent with what kids would do on school. And this select group of kids over here, they volunteered to take your braids out, which is something that's personally impacting you. That's to me, hey, I'm just looking at it from attorney eyelids. Kids having free time to do what they want in school versus kids having free time to do something to personally benefit you because you couldn't take your braids out. I don't know. That's just, hey, to me, that's something it's just is not a good look because it's personal in nature. The other thing is, I thought it was interesting where essentially this brother said that, some of the students weren't in his class. And because some of these students weren't in his class, he had told the other teachers if they finish their work, they can come over. I have a lot of questions. Like, I want to know, did the other teachers know, that the people who were finished their work in their class were going to this brother's class to actually like unbraid his hair or something like that? That's just me. These are just questions. Let's go ahead and finish up this portion of the video before I give my thoughts and or opinions.
Because me personally, I don't think there's anything weird about this. People are saying, oh, that's too intimate. To me, it's literally just hair. It doesn't have to be weird. Some people have never had cool teachers, and it shows. I personally believe that building authentic relationships with students is paramount in being an effective teacher. I make sure my students know and can feel that I care about them beyond the schoolwork and all the stuff that I have to make them do. I take the time to get to know my students outside of academics because caring for the whole child is what's important. Some of these students have been with me since I was a substitute 4 years ago. They see me as a big brother or a father figure, as some of them say. And me, I don't want kids of my own, so all of these kids are literally my children. And in case you're wondering about their parents, most of them follow me on social media and always talk about my videos with their kids. They always tell me that they're so grateful that their kids have someone like me in their life. In my admin, they're well aware of my social media presence and they love my videos.
Remember, let's get the context of this. This video was clearly made before he got fired because he giving his admin big ups and big props. And I'm gonna just be honest, the way this video is presenting, it's coming off as like kind of arrogant and a complete lack of objectivity. Like I'm gonna just keep it a buck. If you're a middle school teacher, I'm assuming that this guy went to college and had some education past high school, whether it was associates or bachelor's or whatever. I think one of the most important things that we all have to have is a little bit of objectivity, meaning to step outside of the situation we're in and see things from the perspective of a potential onlooker. And he's completely showing a lack of the ability to do that. Like, this is just me. The way he's presenting this video, Your Honor, I'd like to plead my case. It's coming off as kind of arrogant to me. Just in my attorney eyes, it's giving arrogant vibes. Hey, my administration got my back. Clearly, they didn't. So you weren't as comfortable as you thought you were. Let's go ahead and finish watching this video.
To me, this is just another wholesome moment that I'm having with my kids that I was fortunate enough to catch on film. Since I'm a science teacher, one thing that I teach my students about is symbiosis. Symbiosis deals with the relationships between organisms. The type of relationship that I like to foster in my class is mutualism, or mutualistic relationship, which means both organisms benefit from the exchange. So when my students have good behavior, complete all their assignments, and do everything that a scholar is supposed to do, I reward them with downtime and just time to just be a kid, be on their phones, play games, gossip, so on and so forth. My students and I work hard and we play harder. I'm fortunate enough to have students that feel safe and comfortable around me, safe to come to me with their problems, their frustrations. They come to me seeking guidance and wisdom, or come to me simply to chill and hang out because they know that they have a safe space to be themselves around me. What I strive to do as an educator is be the teacher I wish I had grown up. I strive to be the teacher that makes my inner child happy, someone that my inner child will be proud of. I want to be the teacher that my students reflect back on 20, 30 years down the line and think like, dang, that teacher I had in middle school, he was the shit. No further questions, Your Honor. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. You think this was inappropriate or people were making something out of nothing? And although you are entitled to your opinion, all I ask is that you be respectful. Thank you.
All right, so that's it for video number one. Before I even go in, let me take a look at the comments. Without knowing more context, if this was a woman, it may have been tolerated more. They let the girls play with the woman's teacher's head, but since this is a man and he is a black man at that, I agree with that. Sounds like the voiceover was after the fact because he starts off by saying he wanted to plead his case. As mentioned, admin knowing what he was doing all along. Admin don't give a flying fuck. All admin is cool until you do something that's not above board, or they think or perceive it to be not above board. But let's just talk about that first video. Okay, this is just my personal opinion, and I'm gonna start this out first because remember, I'm looking at it from the eyes of an attorney, somebody who represented the lowest of the low, sexual assault, sexual battery, who had formalized training and all of that shit. So I want y'all to understand the perspective. And I'm not saying that this guy is any of this. Like, far as I'm concerned, uh, I don't have any evidence to the contrary that this guy is a creep, that he's anything other than an authentic, genuine teacher who cares about his students. As interestingly enough, my daughter actually knows one of her friends had this gentleman as a teacher. And interestingly enough, my daughter has a teacher who's cool as hell. She had him for years. He attends my when my daughter has like dance performances or hell, even when my son did his rap thing, he was like, yo, I got his number, text him. He got dressed, cool. But like if this guy was like, hey, anybody want to volunteer to have my braids taken out? I can't speak for everybody else, but I know my daughter will be like, nah, bro, nah, bro, I'm not doing that because that's just kind of how she was raised. But to me, just looking at this video in this situation, as I'm getting more information, because there's always questions, and I do have an interesting video that I'm gonna show on the end. It was an old video. When you want to plead your case, best believe the internet is gonna go do their due diligence and dig up anything that they may have that may put you in a light how they want. And I'm gonna show y'all that video a little bit later on. But for me, I think the biggest takeaway from this situation and watching this video is this brother is completely lacking the ability to put himself outside of his situation and be objective. The only point of view that he sees is his point of view. He doesn't perceive what another parent may think. He doesn't perceive what a old school administrator in his 60s may think. The only perception he has is how he feels, and that's always going to cause you to essentially get yourself hemmed up. You have to be able to remove yourself from the situation and think objectively. How would somebody look at this if they just walked in the room with no context? Would it be looked at favorably? Would it pass the smell test? Looking at this, if I walked in the room and I saw this, would it smell bad or would it smell good? I mean, the bare minimum skill set that you want an individual to have, you want your children to have, you would hope a teacher, a professional, anybody have the ability to be objective. And here, I don't think he can see any perspective outside of the perspective that he wants to defend. The other point, and I made this point earlier, is a complete lapse of judgment. If I do a live stream and people on the live stream are telling me this is a bad look, other people telling me, oh, there's nothing wrong with this. The fact that there's a point of debate, you should kind of have the common sense to be like, let me err on the side of caution. Okay. The other thing is, and this was brought up before, I'm going to go back to this comment. Hey, we saw this comment. Since he's a man and a black man at that, I always say this because, hey, I'm a black man, I'm a black person. I feel like I can speak to things. You will get no leverage and you will not get the benefit of the doubt. So you have to have the ability to be objective and be able to view a situation from the perspective of an onlooker. Because if and when you do make a mistake, no matter how the hell you perceived it, you aren't going to get a second chance. That's just kind of not how it works. Is a jacked up game. I hate to say it, but that's kind of how this situation plays out. This guy has to be a little bit more cautious. He has to be a little bit more observant of what's going on. He has to be a little bit more observant of the environment he's in. He has to be a little bit more observant of the people who are administrators, the people who are parents, who are probably 15, 10, 20, 30 years older than him, how they are going to perceive it. Now, from an attorney standpoint, I'm going to just keep it a buck with you, okay? To me, I think this is something that's outside of the boundaries of a teacher. Well, DFD, why would you think that? I think it's outside of the boundaries of a teacher because, one, what the children were doing was something to benefit him personally. You know, it was nothing to really benefit the school. If it was like when I was in high school and I remember in ninth grade, they had like a vocational section of the school where they had like a salon and kids who were learning how to barber. If he was down there, I see this situation as actually being a non-issue because then what they're doing is consistent with what we would expect at a school, what we expect from a teacher. But here, because you made an appointment, you had an hour, you didn't have time, you got them to do something that essentially would benefit you directly. That's kind of wild. And I can't even follow the logic. That would be the equivalent of if I'm a defense attorney and I'm repping a juvenile in court and I've been walking around court all day. His case is about to go. We about to head to the courtroom. And me and him are in my office and my shoes got mud on them. I stepped in the mud puddle coming from lunch, whatever. And this guy was like, I was like, oh man, these shoes is jacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this one. And I was like, hey, you want to help me clean this other shoe? And he was like, sure, Mr. DFD, I got you. And me and him sitting in there, he got one shoe, he's shining it, and I got one shoe and I'm shining it. And my supervisor, the chief elected public defender, walks by and sees a minor client sitting in my office shining one of my shoes while I got the other one. Actually, I have no shoe because he wasn't taking out his own hair. He was eating the goddamn tangerine and on his computer. I don't know if he was doing legitimate work or not, but he's eating the damn he's eating the damn Halo. So that would be crazy. And I know people say, well, that situation is a little bit different. No, that situation isn't different. Is a minor involved? It's an individual who is in a position where they have power and authority. And when you are in a position where you have power, authority over someone by your position, by your title, by your age, you have an obligation to actually use a little bit of fucking common sense in my personal opinion. So I think the first thing that was the biggest problem is this guy just had fucking blinders on, and the only viewpoint he could see was the viewpoint that he was arguing. In my personal opinion, all right. If he wanted to do something positive for the students, then why didn't he have one of the students that had a desire to pursue being a hairstylist and have that student do this and style it? And hey, we got a second video where he kind of brings up that point, okay? And we're gonna dive into that in a minute. I want to get through these comments before we go to the video. But yo, too rich to miss. We're gonna get back to that point, but he did bring it up. I think believes what he is doing, and it doesn't seem nefarious. However, in today's climate, it can be perceived much differently. All right, now this is where a real conversation got to come in. Okay, like I said, I've represented sexual assault, sexual batteries, and as a defense attorney, I've seen it all. I didn't done it all, but I've seen it all. I've represented it all. All right, you have to have an understanding of boundaries, okay? And I'm not saying that this guy is an R. Kelly. I'm not saying that this guy's nefarious. I'm not saying he's, trying to groom these young ladies. I'm not saying any of that. But what I can say is based on my training, and I had a lot of training on handling abuse, neglect, sexual assault of vulnerable adults who were non-communicative, who may have been elderly, who may have been cognitively disabled. I mean, I've had thousands of hours in training on this. There always is a point where persons who do show that type of behavior, who do get those type of charges, who are found guilty, where they have that period where they're actually building up trust. Again, I'm not saying that this is what this guy's doing, but what I am saying is you got to have the wherewithal to be able to understand the environment with which you are operating in. And if you can't, shame on you because it's going to end up kicking you in your ass. But I've seen similar things done to persons I have represented in the past where they use things like this, small things as being there, being cool for a nefarious purpose. And the fact that he has blinders on and is only looking at his own what his own legitimate means may be is kind of just a shame and a lack of judgment on his part, in my personal opinion. I don't know the amount of young teacher females getting arrested for having relationship with students is shocking. Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah, hey, that happens a lot. Most times they don't get thrown under the jail all because of the definition of grape because but the definition is normally in most states, not all states, but in most states, why female teachers don't get thrown under the jail and the male teacher will get thrown under the jail. Now let's turn into video number two. Now video number two, and these are kind of out of order, but video number two is after the fact. This is clearly after the fact, so he's already been terminated and he's going to be reading some of the letters. I'm not going to get through all of this video because I'm immature and I'm probably not going to get through all of it, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to get through what I can or what we can. Let's go ahead and cue this. Let's go ahead. Nah, we're gonna do it that way. Actually, hold on. Let me see. Let me let's not do this video there. Let me get to I want to get to a different video. We're gonna do this a little out of I got them out of order, but we're gonna move to this video right here because I think this video is important. Like, let's tune into this video and y'all let me know what y'all think.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start clearing some people. Start off with this gentleman right here. You're letting your daughters play in a grown man's head. God forbid I had kids, but if I had a daughter with a teacher like myself, with a good heart, good spirit, sound mind, no, I would not mind if they took his hair out.
Again, what I said, this dude has blinders on and he can only see his perspective. Trust me, every teacher don't got a good heart, good spirit, good mind, and your child's best fucking interest in it. So he again, this is even after the fact, is a complete lack of objectivity and is a complete lack of accountability. Not once has this guy been like, that's, I mean, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's the reason why his ass probably gonna stay fired. Like, when something like this happens, what people want to hear you say is, oh, I can see now how that could be perceived in a matter that's inconsistent with what people expect from a teacher. None of that. This dude gonna stand on the mountain and die on the mountain. So unfortunately, if you want to take this position and stand on this flag and you plant your flag in the mountain and you're gonna die on it, so be it. But complete lack of objectivity here, complete lack of being able to take yourself out of a position and look at it from an impartial viewer standpoint, and just a complete lack of accountability.
That's what little girls like to do. They like to do hair and do nails and makeup. I have 5 little sisters. You bet your ass I done had a wig on my head before, had a whole lace front.
And I'm gonna be honest. He said he had 5 sisters. This is just my personal opinion. Hey, y'all can beat me up in the comments if you want. I don't know how his home situation was growing up, but me, my father, what I tell my son already knows. Like, if my son goes out somewhere, I'm like, bro, what time I got to be home? Come in when you want. Just know that if something happens, you fit the description. I think this is just me, how I raised my son, how I was raised. I was made very, I was made aware at a very young age is that the standard is going to be different for me as a black man. So despite if I grew up with a household of females, 5 sisters, 25 sisters, it was ingrained in me that, okay, how would this look to another father looking at it from the outside, another person, another individual? So I I can't wrap my mind around how he's just oblivious to how this could potentially look bad. And so now he's talking about if he had a daughter. I'm gonna run it back and let it play through.
If I had a daughter with a teacher like myself, with a good heart, good spirit, sound mind, no, I would not mind if they took his hair out. That's what little girls like to do. They like to do hair and do nails and makeup. I have 5 little sisters. You bet your ass I done had a wig on my head before, had a whole lace front. I done got my nails painted, eyebrows done. Bro, this is what they do. As a father, I would even let my daughter do those things. Like, if she wanted to paint my nails pink or freaking put a wig on me or do my hair or put makeup on me, I'm going to do every single one of those things. You know why? Because I'm secure in my masculinity.
All right, right here. Let's take a pause for the cause right quick. Uh, Shout out to my that's advice. You fit the description. It's gonna be, especially my son. It's gonna be young black male. My son probably got a hoodie on, even if it's fucking July, because that's how he is. It's probably gonna be black. The hoodie, he probably gonna be an all black. So yeah, I generally tell him, hey, if something crazy happened, know that you fit the description. So be careful how you move and careful who you're with and who you associate with. But let's talk about this clip right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think, okay? Because I can't see the point he's trying to make here. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, and y'all explain it to me because hey, DFD not the sharpest guy in the book, but he's talking about hey, if I had a daughter, I would let her paint my nails. I would let her, do all of this stuff because I'm comfortable in my masculinity. What the what the hell does that have to do with anything? It's your daughter. If if you had a daughter, trust me, my daughter painted my nails crazy ass colors. I woke up with glitter on my face before, all sorts of stupid shit that we do as fathers because that's our daughter. Our daughter is always going to kind of have that place where okay, yeah, she is that's our baby girl. If she want to play, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to let you paint my nails. I remember specifically, I'm not letting you paint my nails. Then I was like, all right, just the pinky. All right, just the thumb. Only this hand. All right, you ain't gonna do the other hand. Next thing I know, I was like, "What a nail remover, nail polish remover at?" Like that's just what a father does. But I don't think that that situation is analogous to this situation. He's looking at what he would do if he had a daughter and how he would interact with his daughter. The question is, how would you want your daughter to interact with another man who wasn't you? And again, he said, "I don't have a problem with it because." He is comfortable in his masculinity. I personally think he's asking the wrong question. I think the question should be flipped around. Like not if you had a daughter, okay? If you had a son, that's how the question should be posed. He's looking at this question from completely the incorrect way. If I had a daughter, I would let her do these things because I'm comfortable with who I am. It's your daughter doing it. You're not going to give a shit. And you may be one of the rare, unique guys who's comfortable with your daughter playing in the gym teacher's hair. I'll tell you, me personally, I'm fucking that. I would be like, no, what? You was playing in the gym teacher's, you was taking out the gym teacher's braids. What the hell? Hell nah. Like me personally, I'm gonna have a problem with that because that ain't got nothing to do with anything remotely associated with school. That's my biggest point. If they were talking about, oh, it was based around something structured, I would be like, I could kind of give you the benefit of the doubt, especially considering, hey, I've seen the worst of the worst. I know how those grooming things starts. Not saying this is the case, but the real question shouldn't be if I had a daughter, I would let my daughter paint my nails and do my hair, and I would be cool with her doing it. The real question is, if you had a son, would you want your son to have the ability to be able to look at a situation objectively and make a decision that's going to be in his best interest moving forward? That's the actual question that he's not asking again because he's so fixated on his point of view. What would he do? It's not about what the fuck you would want to do or what you would allow. Those aren't your kids. He's missing the biggest point, and he can't get around that point. And it's like I said, it's showing a little bit of arrogance and a complete lack of accountability, in my opinion.
That's one thing that I think is stumping a lot of guys, a lot of grown men today, is they are not secure with themselves and they project their own insecurities onto others.
Nothing to do with anything.
Everything doesn't have to be weird. It's even the way you worded this question. Read this. You letting your daughters play in a grown man's head. Do you see how you're already trying to spin that? That's very telling of what you have going on upstairs. We as a people have to abandon this idea of, sexual intimacy being tied with getting your hair done.
This dude never watched like one of those documentaries on somebody like Jared from Subway or anything like that because it's small instances like this that appear nothing to someone who's not paying attention, and then the next thing you know they're on the news crying about something that happened to your child. Again, not saying that that's this guy. I'm just keeping it a buck. That's how it goes.
People have this view because typically you're intimate in a sexual manner with someone who does your hair. Automatically, this whole hair video is going to cause some people to be like, oh, where's that? That's weird. But again, it's very telling of your own state of mind. For you to watch a video like that, literally had the camera set up, protect myself, protect my students. Y'all can see there's nothing suggestive going on. It's like family, it's like community as people.
Yeah, but again, he's missing the point. That is how the hell do you think somebody like I've represented someone who like led a cult. I think I maybe told this story before. He had an actual cult and like multiple wives, and one of the children of the wives were murdered because he thought the child was a homosexual. It was crazy. But how do you think someone in a cult can lure people in to like have five wives and to follow them and actually think they're the leader? You think they do it by violence and intimidation? Though that guy had a personality, he had probably the most pleasurable, glowing personality I've ever encountered. Like literally, I would be like, "Oh man, it was a great talking to you today." He was so personable, and what he's realized, and what this guy's failing to realize is all of the traits that you're showing that are positive, those are what bad people use. They use those same exact traits that you're showing to lure people in. And these are children. So children are a little bit more susceptible. They're a little bit more naive. So he's completely missing what the reality of the society we live in is, in my opinion.
We're saying in the chat, this is simply a wholesome, innocent, community-oriented activity. As people mentioned, hair is very important in Black culture. We connect and we bond through our hair.
I ain't nobody do all that. I mean, I guess some people do, but hey, I don't know about all this connecting and bonding.
Just like I said, little girls love to do hair. Bro, they jumped at the opportunity to help take my hair out and showcase their skills, their talents, and their abilities. Because a lot of them, they do hair. They got little side hustles. They do nails. They do nails, hair, and tracks. What's up? And I'm gonna support Black business and support my students.
Bro, I'm gonna support Black business and support my students. And this goes to your point too, Rich to Miss. Like, yo, maybe if it was a thing they did hair on the side. Hey, if that was the case, show me where you paid them to do that. If you supporting Black business don't mean you getting some shit done for free. If you're saying that these are your kids' side hustles and I'm helping them out, okay, did you give them any compensation for this? Because I'm gonna be honest, if you did, like, oh, hey, appreciate y'all helping me out. Here is $10. That would actually change the narrative a little bit for somebody like me. But you can't bring up a point, talk about you support. They got side hustles, they support Black business. I didn't see a transaction. If you would have made a transaction, I guaranteed to defend yourself because you're gonna down this hill with planting this flag. If you would have said, oh, because they got this business, I know they do it, I gave all of them $10, you would have said that shit. The fact that you didn't say it means you didn't do it. So you aren't supporting Black business. So that's why I couldn't get in that angle. But that was a good point that you brought up too, Rich and Miss. It's just, it's you don't got any evidence to corroborate that you were supporting Black business. All I see here is you were getting students during school hours to do something that personally benefited you. I mean, let's just, at its most minute level, that's what it is. It was school hours. You solicited students to help you do something that was a personal benefit to you. I mean, that's just kind of what it is if we look at it at its most basic level. And again, if you're going to say that you're so holistic and so like I would never do anything inappropriate, you need to make sure that your social media account says that. Because this video, the last video I'm gonna play, it's an interesting video that we got to see, and I want to know, after you see that video, does it change the way you look at this individual if you're one of the people on the side of he didn't do anything wrong? To me, I'm gonna be honest, just to keep it a buck, he got exactly what he was supposed to get. He couldn't be impartial and objective, and the outcome that he got is the outcome that would happen to somebody who doesn't have an ability to be impartial or see something from a different perspective.
Every time. Someone also mentioned, oh, I would love to see some of your guy BFFs in the video instead of just your girl. Bro, do you actually think middle school boys are trying to help their male teacher take his hair out? My sister, what? You only saw girls taking out my hair because only girls wanted to do that. No guys were like, oh, Mr. White, I want to take your braids out. Bro.
He's a relatively young guy. He probably in his 20s. and he can't see how, yeah, only girls will volunteer because there's a certain just innocence and naivete that these young girls will have. You know, he don't, even if he has no ill intent, he has no clue as to what those girls may perceive. And I don't know. I think you're just running a risk when you're doing stupid shit that's going to impact your ability. You're a teacher. That's what you do. Why the hell are you risking
Oh,
it?
middle school
I
boys are
can't.
not
I
on that.
can't
They was on the
relate.
basketball court. They were on the dartboard. They weren't worried about my hair. I think of some other things people were saying in the comments. Oh, this is so unprofessional. What if visitors come into the school? What does the administration think? Where's the admin? What about the parents? What do they think? Haha. Oh, this is how it starts. They start doing stuff like this just to get comfortable, and then they start trying more. I hate the fact that simply because they're
If this dude don't get another job teaching, he could get a job doing Mickey's Mouse voice stuff.
are incidences of teachers
Pretty good.
taking advantage of minors, that there's just this like view that, oh, all teachers are on that type time just because of
He's just
their
oblivious.
close-knit relationships with their students. Not all teachers are sick in the head trying to go after minors. Even if it isn't the teacher, what if the girls try to make a move? Bro, I'm rooted enough in my morals and ethics that in the rare case a student does overstep the boundaries that's there, because people are saying, oh, there's no boundaries because he was getting his hair done. Bro, I got boundaries. You need to have boundaries just as a human, but hair, bro, it's hair. But in the rare case a student does overstep a boundary, it is my duty, it is my obligation to correct the behavior. Again, not all teachers are trying to take advantage of minors. A side note, because I just watched this back and it look like I'm bald. I got cornrows. I just got a big ass forehead.
All right.
Let's go ahead and
All right, let's pause this real quick. We got one last video. All right. This is the last video. Then we're gonna go to a video that and hold on. Let me adjust this so y'all can see just me. All right, we're gonna watch a video. This next video is probably like 4 minutes. I'm probably not gonna make it all the way through because I'm immature and I couldn't stop fucking laughing. But this next video is just him reading letters and emails, I guess, that his students sent him since he's been out. And then after that, I got one short clip that we're gonna find. But we got to do a little research. You know, I do have some strong investigative roots in my background, but it's a video that came to my attention just as some of my subscribers were talking about this. They were like, oh, I was like, it could be innocent. And they was like, whoa, DFD, it could be innocent. But did you see this video that he posted some time ago? And I was like, well, what? Send me the link. So we're going to get into that video. But let's get into this video right here where he's kind of reading some of the letters. I'm telling you, I'm not going to make it through this whole video because I'm immature. But we're going to try our absolute best.
ask is that you be respectful. Thank you. Let's go ahead and
All right, let's see.
amidst all the controversy that has come from this video that I posted, I wanted to come on here and read some of the messages that my students are sending me during. Some of the messages that they've been sending me. During this time. Hey, bestie. I really hope that you see this message. How are you? I hope that you're okay.
I'm about to die.
Our class misses you so much.
Oh, God.
And we really want you to know that we love you and we miss you so much. And can't wait for you to come back. I can't believe that taking somebody's hair out is such a big deal. And it makes me so mad that people make little things big things. I want you to know that the class and others got your back. And we will always stand behind you. And up for you no matter what happens. We got you. Again, we miss you and we love you so much. And can't wait for you to come back. I wish that this never happened because it feels like we're losing you.
Y'all losing them, all right? Bro. Oh, hold up,
Come
man.
back soon. Don't be gone too long because
I
if you're not back by Monday, I know something's up.
I can't get through these letters. He read like 2 letters. I'm gonna be honest. I can't I can't get through all of these letters because to me, this is just me. Like, okay, as someone who has some collegiate education, some post high school education, whether it's an AA or bachelor's or whatever. You're a teacher, you got something post high school. At first, there's a lack of objectivity and being able to put yourself in the shoes of an uninterested third party. There's an extreme level of arrogance to only see your point of view and not being able to see the point of view of anybody else. There's actually no accountability. Now, I looked at a lot of videos on this TikTok, and not one video did I see where he was like, you know what? Even though I don't think anything was wrong, I could see how it would look bad to someone who's looking from the outside. And for that, I apologize because it wasn't anything inappropriate. But now in hindsight, it was no accountability for he don't see the mistake that he made. The mistake, he doesn't see how it could be perceived, even perceived as a mistake. And now you're putting the video out where you're crying and snotting and stuff. And I get it. You lost your job. That shit sucked. You went to school. You really look like you love being a teacher. And again, I'm not saying that you aren't a great, a loving, caring teacher to your students. You just you got to use this, brother, because you're only going to get one shot. You got to use this. You got to be a little bit smarter than in the moves you're making. And on the backside, you can't have that level of arrogance, no accountability, but want to run in the victim Olympics. Like, okay, I'm the one that got hurt. I lost this. I'm missing my students. Like, you can't play the victim without any level of accountability for how your actions may or could have been perceived wrong. You don't even got to say they were wrong, but all you got to do is say, I can see. But, like, this dude really needs a PR guy, honestly, but it's kind of crazy. I can't see it from his can I see it from his perspective? I can see it from his perspective, but there's no way if I'm a teacher, I would never do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I was raised. It's something that I would never do. It's something that like, let me get these little girls in my classroom to take my braids out. Like, no, what if one of them little kids' father was coming to pick them up early? Like, you really, real talk, you might get your ass whipped. Like, these are the things that you actually got to think about, dog. This dude is in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Bro, it's parents out here who will clap your like, come on, man. You just got to be smarter. You potentially putting yourself in harm's way for a hair appointment because you didn't have enough time to take your damn braids out. That's insane. Like, yeah, I can see his perspective, but there's no way I would have ever in his shoes put myself in that situation. Yeah. And that's why I said I think it's because and I think that's a fair point. I think he's a little bit younger. He's a little bit younger. He's more of the, and I don't say this to upset any of my eco-friendly people, but he may be more of a tree hugger type of personality who's objective and love and peace and tranquility and all of that is cool, but you have to have some awareness of the ecosystem that you operate in. Exactly. And that's the thing. That's my biggest point. You don't even acknowledge that, okay, this could be something that's actually strange. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's actually crazy. I don't think he should have been fired, reprimanded. Yes. Nah. Like had he handled the post situation differently, I think he probably would have had some type of suspension or something like that. But how can you? The whole point of being reprimanded in most instances, like, I don't know, like just objectively. All right, someone does something wild, and you got these levels. You can give them a censure, like, yo, I'm just gonna write something that's unofficial. I'm gonna write something that's official. You're gonna be suspended, or you're gonna be fired. All of those steps before termination requires some form of acknowledgement of some wrongdoing or something you could have done better on your part. So I don't see how you get to a reprimand if he's not even willing to concede that what he did could have been viewed by others as inappropriate. And now moving forward, that's all you have to say. It's not fucking rocket science. That's all he has to say. And moving forward, I'll make sure once he put the statement out, then I think it would have been kind of a reprimand thing. But from everything I can view on this social media, I never seen that accountability or ownership. And I think that's kind of the biggest issue. Nah, out here, nah, you are at will employee. you are at will. They take it to an extreme. They take at will so far to the extreme. A lot of times they do have employment law violations because they just think like, oh, we're at will employees, and it goes completely wrong. I I will tell you, I told my son as we were talking about this story, I said before he even said it, I said I can tell he grew up in a household full of females because of his perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I mean, hey, my mom's raised me by herself most times, but I can tell that exactly what you said was accurate. Before he said he had 4 or 5 sisters, I was like, yeah, I can tell because he's looking at it from that perspective, from an emotional, innocent standpoint and not being objective. Because every father who has, I'm not gonna say every, but most fathers who have a daughter, if you go to a school to pick your daughter up early, and when you go to the classroom, she's standing behind the teacher who's seated, taking his brace out, your initial reaction gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" yeah, I think that I'm not gonna say every father. Some fathers gonna be like, "Oh, take it," but I would like to think that most fathers would come and they would question that or probably frown upon it in some aspects. Yeah. But if he was a good teacher, he should have just gotten some counseling about boundaries and it's not like I agree with that. I agree, but the other part of it is, and I agree with that, and that could still happen. But to me, I think when you're talking about the reprimands, the censures, the things like that, there always has to be some showing of acknowledgement that like, hey, what you did was viewed wrong or could have been misconstrued. There has to be some acknowledgement of something that you can improve on or something that was done wrong. And let's just keep it a buck. The administration is not without any culpability here. The administration takes some blame because, hey, he's been doing these TikToks for a while. He said the administration had his back. They're aware of his TikToks. So I don't know if they ever set any real guidelines to what should or should happen. I mean, I don't know. If I was the general counsel for the school district, I'm like, yo, okay, teachers, if you all want to do this, we're going to lay out some general parameters to try to protect ourselves, to protect the students, and to protect you. And I don't know if that, in fact, was done. Yeah, the boys needs to make figures. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see one. That's a good question. I look. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I see his point. I see his point of view because you got to think like the older administrators on this case. Like I come from, and I'm not even like really that old, okay? but I come from a generation where like I didn't have a male teacher. I didn't have a male teacher that taught a course that wasn't gym. It was maybe 7th grade. It was maybe like 7th grade. Like, so the older people who are viewing this, who probably the decision makers, they kind of come from that old school ideology. And I think that's something that you have to, be aware of. My 6th grade teacher was an African American man, Samuel Hall. I think it's good to have some African American men as teachers and role models. I agree. I agree because there's not a lot of them in that. There's not a lot of them in that field, especially back then. More so now, I see more male teachers at the elementary school level. But when I was coming up, we had zero male teachers in elementary school unless it was a substitute or a gym teacher. Middle school, 7th or 8th grade was where I saw like my first male teacher. It would have been a bad day had a father or even some mothers walked in on him. It was inappropriate and was free time during school hours. Hey, I I think that's the side that I fall off. I'm gonna give this guy. I don't know. When we watch this last clip of a video, it might change our mind. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of a doubt that he's not a creep. But I agree that it was completely inappropriate and borderline stupid to do anything, especially when it's jeopardizing your means to make an income. Mhm. He isn't weird or anything, just more feminine type of guy, probably due to having a heavy female presence. Yeah, I agree. And I think that, like in some aspects, hell, I think it could be he probably communicates better. He probably is willing to talk through things, but people aren't gonna talk. Had I walked in and seen my daughter braiding this guy hair, it wouldn't have been nothing he could have said that would have probably stopped the rage that would have been boiling inside of me. Yeah. I had all kinds of male teachers throughout my school years. Really? Even in like elementary school, that wasn't like a gym teacher or substitute teacher? Like I can remember like one of my cousins had like a male teacher during kindergarten. And like the other dads was like, damn, bro, you can't find no other job with that. They like, that's just kind of the society that people in. So you gotta think it's people those ages who are probably in these senior positions and stuff. So yeah, I don't think he was nefarious, but the NVAs during the 80s and the 90s, and they were also at the admin level. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Well, let's finish watching a few more seconds of this because I can't take him being in the victim Olympics right now. And then I'm gonna pull up a Facebook clip of an old video that he posted. Well, we gotta talk about because it's kind of sketch. I'm gonna just put it out there. Y'all make y'all call on it. But and we gotta do a little sleuthing because we gotta look at how we can confirm that it was this individual.
But anyways, I also made sure that the classroom was clean before we left. Love you, miss you. Love you, miss you. See you later. Hi, Mr. White. We've been seeing all this stuff going on, and so has your other former students. And I just want you to know that we're standing with you. I'm literally in my junior year of high school right now, and seeing all this, you were my and many others' favorite teacher. Many of
All right, that's enough of this. I can't do that anymore. Let's go ahead and X that out. I can't do that. I can't do that video anymore. It's driving me crazy. I hope that he changes his PR approach. And I think if he changes his PR approach, I think if he shows the ability to see things from a different perspective, take a little bit of accountability for how his actions may have overstepped certain boundaries and expectations of a teacher. I think he would have a shot at actually not having to be like a janitor or a plumber because I really think that this guy enjoys teaching. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, kindergarten. Yeah. This is true right here. People don't want men around little kids. I don't know what it is, but it's people who still think like that today, which is kind of crazy because hey, women teachers are kind of terrible, but that's a whole nother different story. But it is true. It is unfortunate, but that's the society that we stay in. The society we stay in, people like literally. I remember forget my cousin had a male teacher for kindergarten, and I remember I went there with like her moms or something to pick her up, and the other dads was like, "Man, bro, you couldn't find anything else to do, really? You couldn't be a welder, you couldn't be a welder or anything." And that's just kind of how they looked at it. They thought it was weird to have this big ass dude teaching like little kindergartners. So I kind of feel sorry for this guy though. Now he's out of a job, and it's going to be really hard for him to get another teaching job. I agree with that. I do have some sympathy for him, but you, you can't expect somebody to give you what you want and you're not going to give them what they want. And in this situation, is all about the PR aspect of it. You're going to have to give up something. You can't plant your flag on that mountain because the flag that he planted on the mountain that he's standing on right now is there's nothing wrong with anything I did. Y'all are weird. And that shit just not going to fly. Man. If it's young kids, I wouldn't want a male teacher. See, hey, it's not just me. I know I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want everybody to think it's just me, but I think it's just a consistent thing. It's just one of those things that's just kind of like it's not generally what we see, and it's kind of outside the norm. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Once he put a little bit of a apology pie, humble pie. I mean, he get a little bit of a couple slices of humble pie. I think he can bounce back, and I think he can have a good opportunity. Because I'm gonna be honest, the DMV area, particularly DC, is probably one of the areas where teachers actually have a chance. I trust me, I've seen the salaries of teachers looking at the payroll in the city. Teachers, once they start getting a little time in and tenure, like they get a bag here. Isn't that like it's not uncommon to see teachers in the six figures after putting a little bit of time in. So although there was a young Latino man who was a co-teacher at my son's preschool, people liked him. Okay. I mean, could be a good guy. Teachers are in demand and he's science too. I agree with that. I agree. Hey, shout out to my daughter got a teacher who reminds me of this guy. Like my daughter's like, oh, this teacher cool as I don't know what. He's a cool. I even like him. I was like, oh man, this guy's really cool. And hey, he got braids too, but I know he wouldn't have the students in there like doing anything to his hair. I mean, it's just kind of wild. Better safe than sorry. I felt okay because there were two teachers and the classroom had half. Well, okay. And I think that's a way. It's sad. Is it sad? I guess it's kind of weird or kind of sad that we live in a society like that. But if you got like a teacher who like 6'4", 200 pounds, 220 pounds, teaching preschool kids, like even me, I'm gonna be like, oh, bro. I like the neutralization. Like, hey, let's neutralize it by putting a TA in here to kind of tone down all of this masculine energy we got in this room for the kids. So I think that's actually a good approach and a smart approach. Now I'm gonna pull up this one video. Now be forewarned, okay? When you see this clip pop up, let me pull up this guy's TikTok too, because for y'all to see it, I want y'all gonna have to know how can we know that this is actually him. Now let me pull up his TikTok and get it. But I will tell you, this guy's a really talented guy. I think he speaks like French or something, and he speaks French. Let's see. Hold on. Give me a second. This guy speaks French. He plays the guitar. Like he clearly appears to be good at teaching. All right. Learning the bakers. All right. This is a video he got on his hair growth journey. And I'm just showing this video because we have to be able to identify things. I had a conversation with two members of the tribe about this situation. They just kind of reached out to me and they both pointed out a particular video. And I was like, is that him? I can't tell. So I went to his TikTok. Now let me pull up his TikTok. Let me go ahead and add this to the stream because I want y'all to see. Sometimes you got to do some sleuthing because let's see, share screen. All right, so we got his. Let's see, we got his TikTok up. Let's make that larger and make me small. Okay, so let's take a look at this video right here on the right hand side where he's doing his hair. He doesn't have his t-shirt on. Take a look at his tattoos, okay? Those are very distinctive tattoos. I want y'all to keep your eye on these tattoos because when someone first showed me this clip, I was like, is that him? It was a lot of questions, okay? I'm gonna give y'all a background of the clip before we see it, okay? Then I'm gonna tell y'all my take. One, I think this is clearly this guy because same facial structures, tattoos are a dead giveaway. So it's clearly this guy's TikTok. But I couldn't find this video on his TikTok. I actually found it. Somebody sent me a link to it in a Facebook group. Now, this video is a stitch. Stitch on TikTok is where you put a portion of another person's video in. Then on the back end, you do some commentary on it. And so it's a video of a young lady who according to the internet, I can't say this young lady could be 25, but according to the internet, this young lady is uh, in school, a minor. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. And he has this video image up of this young lady standing in the mirror, I guess showing off her physique, or what you will, right? It's not anything that's inappropriate. But then he does a stitch at the end that is kind of cringe, okay? So I don't know if this is him. What I will say is they have tattoos that seem to match and facial features that seem to match, but I really can't make out the face because there was a filter on it that was trying to go along with the joke. So that's why I wanted to direct your attention to this particular tattoo right here. Yeah, it looked like a school bathroom to me too. Looked like a school bathroom, but that's him. That's his tattoo. So now that we know what it is. There's a let me click on it so we could get a closer look. I don't know. He got a lot going on there, but you can see that tattoo right there on the screen. I don't know if it. I'm trying to see if he moved his damn arm out the way. But in any event, we can see that tattoo very distinctive around the left shoulder, the chest region. So, all right, so that's the tattoo. Now let's go ahead and pull up this Facebook image. All right, now this is what one of the tribe members sent me that they found. They said, and I'm gonna let y'all see the comment up here. So we got to see the comment. Okay. This was posted in a Facebook group, and the comment is, "This the ninja that's harmless, right? He steady lusting after them damn 14 and 15-year-olds. Yes, that's the teacher, y'all." So let's take a look at this video real quick. Now, okay, I don't know. That could be any bathroom, but it appears to be consistent with a school bathroom. And the caption on the screen, the caption on the screen, let me silence this because YouTube will try to block it. I only F with emo boys. All right, so let's play this and look at this video. All right, now let's take a look at those tattoos. Okay, now this is hey, looks like this guy to me. Okay, y'all let me know what y'all think. My vision is bad, but clearly looks like this guy to me. He has a filter on covering his hair and giving him hair as if he's an emo. And if you listen to the audio, let me see if I can pull the audio up now that the music is gone on this. But he's acting if he's an emo person because that's what this young lady who appears to be in a school bathroom and according to the internet is likely young, we'll leave it at that, is. So let's see.
What the haven't you people ever heard of? Closing the God Jackson, be quiet.
So he's trying to the joke is this young lady is saying, "I only mess with emo boys," and then he stitches himself in with some filtered hair on, singing a song as if he's an emo. Now, okay, this is just me. Like, okay, if you are going to play the innocent role, you have to be aware with what you put out there over the social media spectrum. Now, I don't know the age of that young lady, but I will say the venue appears that which is consistent of a bathroom at a school. Okay, it could be a bathroom at a local gym, but I don't think that that's something that you probably want out there because if two people I talked to pointed it out to me, the internet is going to internet and do their research. So, it's, hey, teachers are in demand. I agree. It does look like a school bathroom, and that's hilarious. Not harmless ninja. Hey, that's what they said, not me. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is because I'll be honest, I ain't got no advice for you. I can't give no advice to this guy because this guy still has blinders on because he only sees his perspective. But I think the biggest takeaway is we have to be able to remove ourselves from a situation and look at what we're involved in, but from an outside perspective. And if we look from an outside, completely objective perspective, if it's something that could be perceived strange, out of place, inconsistent with what you should be doing at your job, don't fucking do it. If you the fact that this guy was on a live stream and people were like, "Oh, that looks weird. You should stop," and other people's like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with," the fact that it was a point of debate, it should have immediately triggered something in your head to say, "Nah, you know what? Let me cut this live stream off because I don't want to get weird or I don't want any issues." But you just have to be cognizant of what's going on around you. You have to understand that once you go to school, you put all these time and effort in to get whatever degree so that you could do it. You have to make sure you proceed with caution to do anything that could jeopardize your ability to make an income. And I think he just really did himself a disservice just from not being able to just step back and look at the situation, or not, just kind of having the wherewithal to acknowledge that there may have been an opportunity, or there may have been some boundaries that could have potentially been overstepped here, and how he could do things different. I think if he can do those things, he probably will have a chance to get back in his same school, in the same school district. It's going to be interesting to see how this story proceeds. But yo, I appreciate all y'all for chiming in on this. And I think the best takeaway is, if you got a child out there, like, just make sure that you kind of give them guidance on what behavior should be expected from the persons who they have in leadership positions and position of authority. Because you can't always expect the persons in authority to do the right thing, but you can kind of give your child that guidance and have a method where they're actually willing to come talk to you. Because I just know that had I walked in and that would have been my baby girl doing that, it would have been a problem, a really big problem, and it probably wouldn't have went well for him, not me. Hey, I wish him the best. I hope that things work out and he can do what he wants to do. But hey, you got to be smart when it comes to things that can impact your ability to make an income. Yo, that's crazy. Well, he'll be the example of what not to do. He'll be the example of what not to do at the new hire seminar. I agree. And I'm gonna just be honest. I don't know. Like, I haven't talked to one guy who was like, nah, that's cool. And hey, I got a real small circle, I got a real small circle, but literally every guy I asked was like, nah, bro, that's kind of wild. Like, no, that's kind of wild. I'm not a fan of it. It would be a problem. I haven't heard one guy who said, well, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal. It's just hair. That's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Yo, I appreciate all y'all for tuning in and for the interaction. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thanks for the support. Y'all have a good night and take care. Peace.